question, right? How do you make sure that you're able to secure that objective? You have a Grok, you have a Guardian's Barrier, you have Phobias who can jump around the backlines of RSG super simply, and you have Gear, who potentially in this game too will kick in the high gear, make sure that everyone suffers his wrath.
Yeah, we've seen Gear always popping off with that Fanny. I mean, he played one game with Fanny so far, 100% win rate. I mean, I don't want to talk about that, but take a look at RSG. They do have that Valentina, so whatever Slate picks, they do have a counter in that Valentina.
Your
so
team is picking.
Whatever they choose, you can take up a wild charge from Grok, you can take up the jumps coming in from the Phobias. FMM settles for the Bruno, a little bit more of a classic hero that he's picked up for.
Yep, I like the late game insurance by Slate at this point. FMM with the Bruno, definitely more mobility on his end. Probably going to take the Electro Flash as well for his emblem, making sure that he can cause a lot of problems for the side of RSG. RSG going to complete their lineup with the Yuzhong and Karina as well. A very good response to the draft of Slate at this point.
But Dyrov is available. We know as a matter of fact that Seilah plays the Phobias quite a lot onto the middle lane. As such, the Adammir playing in the EXP lane, his hero is yet to be picked. And as a matter of fact, Dyrov is pretty much a lane bully. That is not seen in the banning stages just yet. Slate, yes, they do have the flexibility depending on where Phobias goes, middle lane or EXP lane. At this point in time, I gotta have to say, a Phobias in middle lane sounds a little bit too enticing to me.
It does. We do see, and the Dyrov, I think they heard you through their headphones or something like that. But
try to test it, they can't.
But Dyrov is picked up. It's the last pick of the match, and we do have our 5-on-5 RSG is going to pick up the, Slate Esports is going to pick up the Dyrov for the EXP lane, something that Adammir is very comfortable in. They do need Adammir to win Diablo, especially in the early stages of the game, prevent him from scaling up too fast on that. You don't want to give Diablo that time and opportunity to make the amount of power spikes that he have go in.
And here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be the drop. RSG versus Slate. At this point in time, Slate's composition just looked oh so dominating. How can RSG get themselves and crawl themselves out of this small little space? We shall see here in game number 2's Sector Island.
Okay, so the main draft strategy that RSG has is pretty much a dive strategy. You do have the Karina, you do have the Yuzhong going straight for the back line. You do want to take FMM out the picture, and then the rest of the team, the rest of Slate Esports does not have the amount of damage needed to take you down one by one. But you do have Gear that's going to be flanking you whenever it takes. So you don't want them to, you don't want Slate Esports to always go in. Give any potential engagements. Lolsie just doing Lolsie things in early stage of the game, trying to delay as much farm as possible from Gear.
And just right off the bat, we are going to be seeing that RSG is definitely going to be having a bit of trouble. And knowing that you, as a Yuzhong, you can't brawl against the Dyrov. So Dyrov will do whatever it takes to get in your face and destroy you. As such, that forced Yuzhong to go back home, and that is going to concede probably one lane worth of units, or perhaps maybe just a single melee unit. But we'll move on to the rest of the macro game and look at things in a macro scale. How exactly is RSG doing so far?
RSG is feeling the pressure right now, but they are still pretty much neck and neck with Slate Esports. But Diablo, being the win condition for the first game, is feeling the pressure, especially from the Dyrov coming in from Adammir, and Gear already rotating up top. Not BRAYYY, but Bray is quick to follow up, so any protection needed from Diablo is necessary, because once he gets the dragon form, then he's gonna go down.
Yep, the cutthroat right onto Diablo. But unfortunately, his life is not that long either for Gear, as he instantaneously just got bursted down by the hands of Karina. And that is pretty much all that it is, as she brandishes blades.
The backup coming from RSG is just so fast. In a snap, every single one of the members of RSGSG comes up and supports Diablo. Yeah, you want to take him down? Sure, you're going to go down. So you want a one-for-one trade or not? The first turtle dance coming on.
And
Great, let's take down turtle.
That is going to be the turtle taken down, while Adammir was trying to go for the Besom strike right off the opponent. And Seilah immediately down, followed by a flame strike. Adammir was hoping that he'll be able to hold himself just a little while longer, but Seilah is lunging himself into the air. He himself is the comet, and he himself has managed to buy so much space as well.
The chase down coming in from Seilah. Like I said, the dive strategy is coming in from Slate Esports with Seilah on that Phobius, and he did a phenomenal job trying to chase down Bray on the Phobius. And everything went well for Slate Esports, but they still lost the turtle in the end. Maybe the priority isn't like, hey, let's just give him the turtle because we do have a fan anyways. But let's just take Bray down as much as possible, delay his farm as much as possible.
It is now 2-2, 3 minutes into the game. Slate's lineup and composition really just do have a lot of damage onto themselves. In the early stages of the game, Damage City. Mid stages of the game, Damage City. Late stages of the game, well, do I really have to say that even more? Well, for
Damage City.
Yeah. Well, for RSG, they do have a little bit mix of everything, if I may say. They do have the sustainability. They got ways to single one person out in terms of CCs. They can burst someone down with Bray as the Karina as well. But Karina, is that going to be a tank Karina or a magic damage Karina? That is the question. Very likely is going to be a tank Karina, I believe, because RSG, they love to play sustainable lineup, sustainable compositions. As such, they will always want to throw themselves with their front lines right into the face of Slate. As such, and that way, they don't really have to care too much about dealing damage. They just need to stay alive a little bit longer.
The strategy coming out from Slate right now is just to pressure the top lane or Diablo's lane as much as they can, especially in the early stages of this game. Because once Diablo gets popping off, he's going to be joining in team fights and they're going to be fighting fire with fire. JPL jumps in his wall charge.
Immediately, that is going to be catching quite a lot. That is going to be Lolsie as well as 505 being caught right out. And 505 taken down. Lolsie moves himself away and right out of the way from the Turtle's pit. And that is going to be Jikundo. Whale of Dragon connecting down onto Gear. Diablo comes in. That is going to be Gear taken right down. With two members down from the guys out of Slate. Bray joins right into the battle. But unfortunately, that might be the end of that fight.
It's always a 1-to-1 or 2-to-2 trade from these two teams. Right now, the pressure is on. The snipe coming in from Seilah with that flame shot, threading the needle through water and hitting Lolsie. He's nowhere to escape. You think you can get out of this? No, you can't. But RSG always there, quick for backup. Diablo all the way from that top lane, coming down to that bottom lane jungle and just solidifying those kills and maintaining them and keeping them in the competition. But Lolsie is trying to make JPL feel the pressure as he can, because Lolsie is spot ball right there, being on him.
Now, the thing about playing as a Cho is the fact that you can actually play in a very straightforward way, just getting yourself into the face of your enemies. That is going to unlock the demonic force coming in from this Seilah as well. Anytime you want to go in, yes, you can go in. But do you really want to use it? That is the question. As long as RSG have got information as to where Slate is, you are really going to be following it up. That shot coming from Lolsie, that is a surprise!
It might be a misclick. You shouldn't enter because of all your teams. You're not ready. Diablo feeling the pressure right now. Two members on him. Adammir does not have his ultimate, but he's trying to fight him under the turret.
He do have sustain though. He definitely do have the sustain. He got himself out of the fight pretty easily.
What was interesting is I'm looking at the draft again. Every single time I see a kill, I look at the draft yet again. 505 on that balance is able to bait out Phobius' jump. So every single time Phobius uses his ultimate, 505 maybe take in the ultimate, bait out that Phobius jump, and then give your team space to fight a battle front to back.
This is a tough game to call, right? Because it kind of seems as though Slate have got the momentum, they have got great energy, as well as vision all across the map. They are not in any way superior to RSG in terms of gold, because right now, RSG have just caught up to Slate just by about 200 gold. So honestly, this could still be anyone's game. Every single one of these turrets are still up, and it could just lay down to the micro game. As now, it is going to be Lolsie immediately fly up to the sky because of the wall charge coming from JPL. Seilah moves right on, demonic force, lights himself 505, and then on the Bray. Gear follows things up with a retribution, bringing down the turtle pretty darn easily, with 505 being stranded alone, and 505 wanted to bring himself back.
How the tables have turned. Lolsie right now being a little too ballsy, going in straight for Slate, but no backup required, no backup enabled for the side of RSG. You need to have a little bit more time for babycakes hitting the power spikes. I'm not sure about the itemizations. We're going to take a look at it lot about it just in a little bit, but babycakes, as we speak, just bought her Berserker Spirit. The damage is on.
It doesn't seem. It seems like the Whale Dragon was actually used on the JPL while he still had his passive on. So this is really difficult, right? Lolsie could not find the opportunity. He could not just single out JPL that easily. And JPL is always setting the golden standard as to who can be in front of him and who can be behind of him. In fact, every single one of Slate members must be behind of Grok. No one can meet the lines of RSG unless Grok himself does it first.
There is a crack in the armor, and Slate Esports has finally found it. This is where Slate Esports can capitalize on that situation. They are up ahead in 1K gold. This is not much, but enough for them to take the fights that they can.
2 turrets are taken down by the hands of Slate at this point in time. And now, and as for RSG, they haven't taken down a single turret just yet. Well, RSG, they know and they have an idea that Seilah as well as JPL is all the way down to the bottom lane. And babycakes, does he really have anyone to help him out at this point in time? Where's the jungler? In the middle lane trying to push his advantage as well. RSG is splitting up their composition and just thinning themselves out in order to get back the control of the lanes.
Jake trying to fly in, trying to apply as much pressure as possible. JPL walking into the fray, closes out Bray, and gets back. A lot of discipline coming out from Slate Esports right here.
Things are relatively slow. Adammir tries to put himself
Oh,
in the
but
proxy
Diablo.
lane, but is that really going to be the play? As Diablo pushes himself into the White Dragon form, brings Adammir down right at the top side, while Bray tries to get himself away. HP not quite much, doesn't have the way to brandish his blade. As such, FMM takes him down on the other side of the map in the middle lane. Second tier turret, Seilah found himself yet another one, and RSG have lost 3 members already.
Finally, this strat is breaking up RSGSG apart. They are perfect as a unit, but once you put them apart, they're like hitless chickens. It's sort of like the cheerleader effect. But instead of how well you look, it's how well you play. Slate Esports does a very phenomenal job doing that so far, and the lore is going to be taken now to the fans of Slate. No competition right there.
Honestly, this really comes down to be the fact that RSG is having a difficult time because the invincible pressure that we usually see in every single game is gone. Yuzhong just does not have the kind of pressure that Diablo usually have when it comes down to Uranus, Esmeralda, Benedetta, or perhaps even Paquito. So many things that he can do on all of those comfort heroes. But Yuzhong really comes down to the point that he can be sustainable in fights and not too viable in this meta anymore. And I'm pretty sure that Diablo is feeling it right now.
JPL is giving them hell. There's nowhere hiding in their shell. Right now, JPL just so much confidence going into the jungle. They're taking control of everything. This is sort of like a reverse from game number 1.
Pretty sure that even though it's 10 minutes and 30 seconds into the game, RSGSG, they may still have an idea and some tricks hidden into their sleeves. Even though the Lord is marching in from the top lane, pillaging every single turret that RSG owns, there could still be something! And that something is exactly what we saw, a death onto gear.
And this is sort of like a heavy spin right there, but Adammir down low, the kick onto Lolsie, but sets them apart. The reserve gameplay about that.
It's not at the end of that fight just yet, though. It kind of seemed as though it was, though, because Adammir has somehow found himself in a precarious spot, put himself down to a really low amount of health.
And health, indeed, they are very disciplined in trying to get that. FMM really focused in getting down all the objectives and extending the lead minute by minute, second by second, as much as possible. You've got six turrets down on the side of Slate Esports, 1 turtle, and the first Lord already down by Slate. RSGSG, they're just picking it out. You want to take one by one. You want to take Slate Esports one by one, and this is how you do it. Take down gear when he comes too close, and then carry on that momentum, fight front to back. You need to stay as a unit.
A 5,000 goal lead in favor for Slate. RSGSG still have got the outer turrets to destroy in order for them to get a little bit more control all across Sanctum Island. With the Lord popping out in 40 seconds, this may pretty much be the make it or break it play. This is how they will get themselves out of that breaking point. The longer they're teetering on this breaking point, the harder it will be and the more explosive that break is.
Take a look at RSGSG. On the minimap, they are playing it as a unit right now. Lolsie, babycakes staying together as much as they can whenever it comes down to taking down the objective, which is coming out for the Lord. Adammir right down here, trying to go over babycakes, kicked out by Lolsie.
Adammir's HP is going all the way down low in the meantime. Still Caleb's ready, just roll right in, dived in like an Olympic diver. Bring 3 members down from the side of RSG. And while 3 members is down from RSG, this is the perfect time for them to go for the Lord.
A little bit too slow for RSG. They could have taken down Adammir, but the damage was just not there. They do not have enough economy. The second Lord of the game might not be contested by the side of RSGSG. It's going to go into the hands of Slate. And right now, you do have a lot of even down low. You need to have enough time to farm up. You still are in this game. Take it slow. Take the long game. Play it slow and go in straight for the kills, one by one.
With the Lord currently available for Slate, and after Slate has finally found ways to soothe the Lord and convince him to fight for Slate, this push may very well be that GG push that Slate is looking out for in order to secure that 1:1 scoreline. How exactly will RSG turn things around? How exactly are they going to play from this point onwards?
It kind of seems like RSGSG being a little bit passive in this current situation. You don't want to engage too deep into the jungles. You don't want to fight in the jungle. You don't want to fight anywhere there's near a wall, because JPL, very sure, he's going to use his wild charge and stun you at least for 3 seconds, and then you're not going to have enough time to reciprocate into that damage right there. But you can play a flank. You do have Diablo right here, who's able to flank out, get the backline, get FMM, and once that is done, you are able to take down the fights. Let's take a look at items real quick. The power spikes are on for from FMM with this Bruno. All the items he needs are being built up.
Then Hunt Trident crashes down onto the bottom lane, inhibitor turret. The rest of RSG, they're holding things out. They're making sure that the Lord goes down. They're making sure that Slate does not have the opportunity to sink any of these waves and touch any more of these inhibitor turrets. And alas, they did not manage to. Slate, they have managed to get them, or rather Slate, they will move themselves out of the way and no longer press the attack. But they are still holding themselves up around the upper quadrants of the jungle. They're still playing around and trying to open up the map.
Slate was just acting like a robber, going in, taking what you can and get out. Don't overstay your welcome, which is where RSG is able to crumble right there. Slate is trying to just wait for that right opportunity to go in. You have Seilah, he's going to go jump in from that backline. It's just a matter of when.
A very polite robber, I may say. Slate at this point in time, they're not just rushing right in. They are waiting for their right time, waiting for people to be out, and then ring that doorbell. And when exactly is that doorbell? Well, we're gonna have to see when is Slate's timing afterwards. Because now it kind of seems as though perhaps even Slate themselves, they would want to play the cautious game. They would want to be as careful as they can. They do not just want to pick up a fight right in the enemy's jungle nonchalantly with no objective in mind. They do not want to go for mindless killings and such. They want to translate kills into objective, and only time to do that is when the Lord is appearing or it has appeared.
Seilah is doing phenomenally well right now. You do need to take Seilah down in order to push in your momentum, because Fear is coming to fly in.
That exactly is the time as the Blade Dancer weaves himself right in between of everyone else, but it does seem like he will be able to cut throats down onto Diablo. 5 is taken down. babycakes unable to rest easy within Muddle's protection as Seilah's demonic force is just let him as there with just a sliver of health. He is on a mission like a man possessed, and Slate have effectively taken 3.
Taken 3 indeed. 3 are gone for at least 30 seconds. This means that this Lord is going into the hands of Slate. Let's take a look at into the replay. What just happened right there? Lolsie in too deep. They just focus right on Diablo. Once Diablo's out of the picture, there's nothing much that RSGSG can do to counteract that. Diablo was the main course of action that Slate went for, and it worked out great.
Seilah gotta have to be the biggest MVP in that fight, I gotta have to say. Here used up his immortality and used that opportunity to wait. Or rather, not really an opportunity, but that space in order to wait. And just like that, FMM, the Bruno. A single soccer ball into the face of the Lord ought to bring it down. But within just a short moment in time, RSGSG has somehow managed to find himself 3 turrets down. 2 turrets in the top lane, 1 turret in the middle lane. Is it quite enough? I beg to differ.
It's not. You need to take down the heroes of Slate in order to ride on that horse, ride on that momentum and go forth. But it's so hard because the Lord is marching down in the bot side as we speak. The only way to win this fight is for RSGSG to defend from this Lord. All you need to do is lure them too deep into your base and let the base do the work.
Once again, as the Lord slowly tramples his way, he does have his enhanced trident, his trusty sidekick, in order to bring the core down though. Slate's entire lineup, they are beefed up. They are ready for battle. They are ready to win this war. With JPL, the big menacing Grok, the mountain giant slowly weaves his way into the lower quadrants of the jungle to open things up even more. Perhaps even the Magic Sentry wouldn't be able to help, as all of the waves are now effectively synced up. Bray a little bit out of position because of the Guardian's barrier, but somehow he's still doing pretty A-okay. Slate's HP, not quite so though. What a Blade Dancer focuses himself down to the bottom side, and that is going to be the Lord taken down without Slate being able to get anything at all.
This is pretty much an RSG that I'm pretty used to, because you can come back from this. Even though you're so far ahead, 8k gold, that's not much. If you take a fight in a position that you want them, take it in the high ground, take it where you know that you're able to win. Don't go into the jungle where you don't know where the next course of action is going to come from the side of Slate Esports. Take it in a position where you can see the rest of the team and then fight front to back.
All of
it's
the
going to be a
members,
slow game.
the thing with RSG guys, is take a look at them. Going slow, going safe and sound. They have a game plan in mind, and that could either be a bait or an ambush. They're biding their time at this point in time. They're just waiting for the Lord to eventually open themselves up. And Slate, they are thinking of the same thing too. But where exactly is the rest of Slate RSGSG has in mind? That is where Lossie's job comes into play.
Slate is going in, but Gear gets caught out, is able to dash away right in here. But RSGSG is still hiding in the jungle, as well as Slate. Just both sides of the coin, just waiting and waiting for the right opportunity into the clutches, into the bear's trap. A Lord just evolved.
Unfortunately, I think that this game, well, RSGSG, this isn't the end just yet, because now most, if not all of their members are already online. This is exactly the fight that they can look forward to. babycakes, he has the damage, while the rest of the members, they do have the tank items that they need to survive in a fight. This Lord will finally be challenged, and Team Slate, they are waiting for the perfect moment. When exactly is that opening they see?
RSGSG needs to find out where FMM is and go straight for him. You do have a very heavy dive composition. You need to take him out. Once he's out of the picture, Seilah just needs to go and try to be redirected by either Lolsie or 505.
Slate, they don't have to rush it. They can slowly buy their time, because RSG no longer have got the Diablo that can split push anymore. Bottom lane will eventually be pushed up, and it's only a matter of time when Slate finds the opportunity. The small little crevice between the cracks of RSG. And that is the moment in time that they can actually move right in. Bray and Lolsie surprisingly tried to open things up and really just to bait out a bit of damage. The Abyssal Strike did connect, but doesn't do that much damage.
The Lord Dance is coming along here, is coming in too deep, and Seilah follows up quick.
The Blade Dancer, he immediately went straight in, but unfortunately 2 Immortality is going to be popped immediately. Diablo takes himself 1, and that is going to be another one. 2 of the names on the Slate. 2 members taken down. 505 off of Diablo. It is going to be the rest of the members coming from the side of Slate. They're just going to be pushing their momentum down on the bottom side, while FMM is just going to be throwing all the soccer balls all to the core, and that is how they finish it.
Oh man, I don't know what to say about this, but Slate, well job. Seilah is just so scary. That was an intimidating Phobias. What a show, what a performance right here.
That is a tough game. That is understandably a tough game. Slate, even though they have got early game momentum and they have got the early game power, they still couldn't find proper ways to end the game. RSG, they do have ways that they can come back into the game into the later stages because that was about 9,000 gold deficit. But at that point in time, let's be honest, the power spike were already there. They don't really have to care too much about items. They gonna have to rely onto their skills and they